The majority of the panel, as is made up right now, and what we are looking to extend today, would not require that the majority of the panel be made up of educations.
That's incorrect. This law extends mayoral control for the CECs, for the panel for educational policy, for the mayor. The CECs are required to be parents. Each of the borough president appointees are required to be parents. 2 of the mayor's appointees are required to be parents. There are a handful of other people that don't have to be because presumably they have other expertise in contracts or law and they play a role. All the community superintendents must be licensed at PhD level and beyond to, or extensive superintendent licensure to continue. The whole point of mayoral control is a certain amount of expertise and professionalism that was not present before. And so it standardizes it. But it gives a major role to parents. In my district, a number of people had to come off the community school board because they were not parents. So now on the CECs, you have to be parents. And when your child graduates, I think you can stay for a year, if you're really into it, but at some point you have to roll off. And that was a good thing, too.
So 5 borough presidents appoint parents. 2 of the mayor's appointees are parents. That means 8 of them, what's that number? 7 of them are parents.
I know. I went to parochial school. I don't add as well as people in the public school.
That means the remaining 6 are not parents. That means, and they're not educators. They don't have to be required to be. My point is that we are not requiring the majority of the members of the panel of education policy, those who are dictating the policy for the New York City education system, to be educators. And we're not requiring in this legislation that the chancellor of the city of New York be an educator.
That's incorrect. Mr. Speaker, that's incorrect.
Then how did Kathy,
I can only answer the
Kathy
gentlewoman's
Black get an
questions
appointment then?
if they're, it's incorrect.
Yes.
So you asked her to yield. You want questions? You'll ask a question, she'll answer.
I would like to know how Kathy Black was appointed chancellor if we are not requiring that the chancellor of the city of New York be an educator.
She received a waiver from the New York State Department of Education at the urging of Mayor Bloomberg.
Little loopholes. I forgot about the loopholes.
No, excuse me, Mr. Speaker. I am shocked that my colleague, who is such an expert in so many things, is unaware of something that was reported in every major newspaper, including the Staten Island Advance, at the time.
But, in all honesty, when we look at the reauthorization of mayoral control, we're looking at an opportunity to improve what hasn't worked to the best of its ability. In 2002, when this was first passed, there was the sunset of 2009. In 2009, there was changes that were made to improve it, and it's still a work in progress. And I think what we're doing here by just extending it another 3 years without making any changes is not doing what's in the best interest of the students of the city of New York. Right now, there are 13 members, 8 of which are appointed by the mayor. Only 1 is required to be a parent. None of them are required to be an educator. I find that to be troublesome that we have a panel of education policy that doesn't require that the members be either parents or educators. I think that's something that we need to look toward to change. Or else what we're going to see is the mayor's cronies appointed to this committee and have full control. They'll have the majority of the votes. And we see how that works with the MTA. We see how it works with the Port Authority. We see how it works with the Water Board. It's never in the interest of the residents that we represent, but instead of what the mayor wants us to want, or the governor, depending on which board we're talking about, what they want done is usually rubber stamped. Additionally, I think it's important that we require in this legislation that the chancellor is an educator. I think that's something that's very important. And as my colleague mentioned, with the selection of Kathy Black, it probably was not the best choice. We know it wasn't the best choice. And so we should require going forward that the chancellor of the City of New York school system that oversees the education of 1.1 million children, $24 billion budget, has an education background. I think that's only common sense. Now, with regards to transparency, many of us have community education councils, PTAs, that have given recommendations on how we can improve this legislation going forward, how we can make mayoral control be more transparent, how we can make the process of the contracts, as was mentioned earlier, $4.5 billion in contracts, and we don't know where that really money is going. And not only that, but the PTAs and the community education councils don't even have the ability to review the budgets of their individual schools. And so I think we need to be a little more transparent with those and have our PTAs and CECs part of the decision process. They only get to review a portion right now of the budgets of their schools, and they should be able to see the whole picture. And that's how they can make more recommendations on how we can improve education going forward. So I support the concept of mayoral control. I don't think it's a bad concept. I just think that we need to take this opportunity to make it better. And certainly we've heard it all in our communities, from our parents, from our teachers. And I think just making certain improvements, we shouldn't be in a rush to do this. Let's listen more to the community. Let's talk more to educators. Let's see what improvements can be made. So we are making sure that we are giving the best quality education to our children as possible. So I will be voting in the negative today. I hope that we'll be back at the drawing board and discussing this further before the session ends. Thank you.